Did you know that right here in Lusaka, Zambia, there's a courier service that can run errands for you at an affordable price? You don't have to worry about your shopping or delivering your gifts or parcels or your documents. They can do that for you.
But what's even more inspiring is where it all started. Not in some fancy office or big company boardroom, Ntumai was born right here in Lusaka, Zambia, in Kamwala South, in a quiet family house from his bedroom. Just one young man with a vision to make life easier for others. From that bedroom, Ntumai is now running errands, delivering, and showing what's possible with just an idea.
Hi, my name is Grecian Mwale, founder and CEO of Ntumai, a courier and errand service, and I'm possibly raising a multi-million-dollar company right from my very own bedroom. So I believe that life does not start from perfection. Life starts from very small, simple steps that day by day you get to improve, day by day you get to get better. That's how I raised Ntumai. I applied the principle we call Kaizen, and Kaizen simply means being 1% better every day. And through this story, you get to realize all that I've done from starting small, probably sounding like a motivational speaker, but it's a story that you and I both relate to. And I hope one day we look back at this and say, damn, we knew Tomay is gonna hit 1 million, and it does.
Let's start right at the beginning. Walk us through your childhood, your background.
My background is pretty interesting in that it's mostly centered around me being at school and at church. Those are the two things I've always known in my life. So I've been so focused firstly on God and on my education. I've grown up in a family of two, but we've never just been the two of us. My parents have been the people for the family. We've had cousins come to live over with us, aunties and uncles that have always been a part of us. So from there, I've learned how to live with people, and I have learned just how different people can get, how people can get into your space, and how everything can just go like that. So I grew up in Chawama. Part of my childhood is in Chawama up to, I think that must have been 2005, somewhere there. Yeah. Then from then on, that's where we moved here. But
Any talents?
Singing at church, choir, not I can't sing unless you want to wake up a dead person, but I can conduct a choir, and I've been doing that from my childhood. And yeah, playing drums at church. I'm Catholic, so you know, Shiliengoma Shaba Katolika Shili.
I was actually thinking you're SDA.
Nah, I'm not SDA.
Okay.
I'm not SDA, I'm Catholic, so most of my talents have been that. And a talent that I only got to find out was a talent after growing up was my ability to speak. I think it's what has made a difference for me in every room that I've stepped in. It's the fact that I can express myself, I can speak freely, and I can speak confidently. I used to preach in church. I don't know if you've ever been to Chawama Parish.
No.
Very big Catholic church. I think one of the biggest in Lusaka.
Okay.
And you have thousands of congregants, and on certain Sundays where the priest would say, okay, would like to hear from the children, and they could call upon like me, Grecian should preach, and I would preach, and from then on I didn't know it was the start of my public speaking journey and just my Christian life as well. So my ability to speak is the talent that ranks high amongst everything else, because I can't play. I wish I was a footballer. I wouldn't be doing business, guys. The money in football. but no, sadly, my dad didn't execute Project Mbappe on me. So yeah, here we are.
Walk us through your education background.
Okay. My educational background, I was fortunate enough to do baby class. Because there are people who do not. Yeah. I did my primary school education in Chawama at Ladybugs Primary School. And then I wrote my grade 7 from the center, which was Chimwemwe in Chawama. and I was one of the highest there. Like, yeah, I had good grades.
You had the brains.
Yeah, I had the brains. Sadly, I went to Material Boys and I found that they were brains.
Bigger brains.
They were bigger brains. So my secondary school was at Material Boys Secondary School, and I graduated from Material Boys in 2015. And then I was enrolled in the School of Mathematics and Natural Science non-quota at the Copperbelt University, the best university in the country. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. We'll keep the argument for another day.
Yeah. So I was at CBU studying bioinformatics. That's after my non-quota. So bioinformatics is simply computer science with biology. So it's about biological database systems and how we can revolutionize like biology, apply biological principles, technological principles, IT principles, and apply them in biology, in gene sequencing, in all these things and all that science. So I'm a scientist, you could say that.
So right after your graduation, did you try to apply your knowledge anywhere else? Like, did you work anywhere?
No.
Why?
Okay. I knew in my final year that I probably will not work a day for anyone else in my life. I knew it was, let's call it an intuition that I had, premonition, maybe a vision for the future or something. Yeah, and I knew from then on that my life would be in business because I started business in school at the Copperbelt University. So that was
what
where...
kind of business were you doing there?
I was selling thrift hoodies. Yeah, Salaula. Yeah, I started with thrift hoodies.
Yeah.
After doing thrift hoodies, I went into ordering carpets and a lot of lady-ish things.
Right at school?
Yes, but I was ordering them from SA. So I found a plug, as we call them, in SA who could supply me with some of these things. And I started building my business because I was in my final year. And I knew that if my business depended on students, it probably would die immediately after I leave the place, right? So I started supplying household things, carpets and everything. And my delivery people were my parents. And big ups to my parents. They've been there for me from day one. So my dad would pick up the things from Intercity, and then my mom's friends were the biggest clients, you know, ladies and household things, carpets, and my mom would even sometimes take some of these things to her office, like put them in the trunk of the car, take them to her friends, come through and they see, oh, these are for my child, please support. And that's where it started. By the time I was coming out of university, there was already a foundation for me in business. And I continued, and yeah, I used to apply to work as a bioinformatician, but unfortunately the field that I did, I'm sure it's new even to you.
Very
perhaps.
new.
Yes, it's the same even in the industry out there. So there are very few places that you can work full-time as a bioinformatician unless you split, either you work in IT or you work in biology. I would have split, but I just wasn't really for the idea. I couldn't find my place. Even when I was doing internship, I did my internship somewhere, and then when I was doing that internship, I was actually performing very well, and the people liked me there. But every time I came home, I remember telling my brother, like, is this what I'll be doing every day? It just never felt like me.
Like the right thing to do.
Yes, it never felt like me. But the applying pressure came. I mean, you live in your parents' home. Are you going to work? And I have tried to apply, and I used to put, trust me, not that I never used to make sure the applications were not good. They were good.
Perfect.
But I think it's God that was just telling me, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your time. And I think I'm at a place in life now where I have burnt the ship. I don't think I'm going back that route. I'm now on this island, and it's entrepreneurship all the way. It's business or nothing. Like, that's that.
Throughout this your journey and experience, at what point did you have that eureka moment of saying, let me open a courier service, a logistics company?
Yeah, so straight out of uni, doing my business and everything, mom and I got a car. So we got a car. It was a small car, an IST. The idea was to put it on one of these ride-hailing platforms. But then I was underage to register. I was a licensed driver, but I was underage. So it happened that you needed to be 25 to register. I graduated before I was 25. So we had this car that was supposed to be an investment, right? And then it was not serving its purpose, but I was there like, okay, as we are finding a way in which we're going to register this, what if I started going around like helping people do things, shopping for people and everything? It's how Ntumai started. So I started helping people, buying some groceries. I remember I had a client who I could help. I buy groceries, put them in the car, deliver. But overall, I think the cost was too much because I was running the car, and the price people were willing to pay was little. So it's like that. So now it got me to study saying, okay, what do I need to do to make sure that the price and the service are actually corresponding, that the demand is there, but at what price is the customer willing to buy it? And then at that point, I did manage to get into a ride-hailing application. I started doing rides, but that idea was still in my head running. And people had already opened up to that, saying, okay, Grecian is running courier and errand services. He does this. So people would still come. And the one thing that I have, the one mentality that I have in business, when you find a customer who's willing to pay, don't stop giving them that thing. Don't stop giving them the product. Don't stop giving them the service. So it was, how do I sustain this? And that is where the idea of Ntumai really was birthed, because even as I was taking people as a taxi, I would have interactions with people, and sometimes there are people who would book a taxi, but it's not a taxi. They want you to go in ShopRite and buy something for them and deliver to them. So I was like, okay, the need for this service is there. And yeah, that's how I started Ntumai. And I remember I posted on my status asking for someone who owns a motorbike if we could partner on this, because I knew a motorbike would cut down the costs on fuel and everything, and then we would serve our customers. So that's how I looked for someone with a motorbike, and they were the third party. All I did was just find the customer, link them to that person, and I would get 10%. Yeah, so fast forward, where there's a will, there's a way. I managed to save up money, and the motorbike was purchased. I purchased my motorbike, but then I didn't have what to pay the person. Have the bike, you don't have the money to pay someone to be on a salary.
So how did you work around it?
I got a friend. If Ratsa is watching this, don't come for me. But he was not licensed. He didn't, but he knew how to ride a bike. And that's all I needed. Like, you know how to ride? Okay, come to, let's negotiate. Let's negotiate this. And that's how we started.
Yeah.
So with that friend, we started serving clients. Yeah, and we got, and along the way, the business grew. People started knowing about the service. Now we had this bike. The bike had the label on it. Now we were visible. And all of a sudden, what looked like, okay, this was just at the back of my head, started maturing, you know, and you could look at it and go like, wow, that's mine. Like, I did that. And when you're at that place as an entrepreneur, you don't want to go back. When you finally can see your dreams and things starting to mature, everything starting to come together, you don't want to go back. So yeah, that's how we started with that friend, and people started knowing about Tomay, and we got to serve clients, and we moved on from there.
I know you gave me a hint about how supportive your parents are, but I still want to ask this question.
Yeah.
when you first shared your idea about opening Ntumai, how was the reaction from family and friends?
It was supportive. Yeah, my mom is always just like, whatever goes on in this guy's brain. She's always labeled me like that. Like, kaya baby mashtika mutu mwake huyo. But masevenza. So she rides with that. My parents have always given me the freedom to make my own decisions. And I am grateful to them for that. They've supported me throughout everything. There's no mistake that I've made in my life that I can say it's because of my parents. Like, no, I went to this school because of my parents. It's never been like that for me. Where do you want to go? I want to go here. Okay, what do you want to study? I want to study this. And it's been like that. So it's the same even with business. My parents have been there like, okay, you want to start this business? Yeah, sure. They'll ask questions. So how are you going to do this? How are you going to do that? And then you explain and they're like, okay, great. When I bought my first bike, I think mom was sharing with me and your dad was so proud. Like he was just like, manawan, like he's bought. And I've had these scenarios where maybe dad is driving around town and then he sees the bike. Next thing he's sending you a video. That bike comes at home, you see it. But they're always like, they've seen and they're always the first people to share my ads. Every time I make a poster or do it, it's on my dad's status, it's on my mom. My dad doesn't even post statuses, but my ads he will post. Yeah, and it's been like that. I think they've been the best thing that I'm the best thing that happened to them. Yeah, but as well, I'm very privileged to have them in my life and their support has been great. My friend circle has been very supportive. I love my friends. They're always there for me. When I need something, there've been times where I've been in debt. Business is hard. Yeah, there are times like that. That comes through. There's a time I got one of the bikes on hire purchase and my math was not right and I started falling into debt. Some of my friends bailed me out of this debt, like to a point where they could tell me, you give us the money when you have it. And that's the support I've got from my friends and from my family. That's my circle. And those are the people who are around me. I know only like 2 of them will come for my wedding, but I love each and every one of them and how they've helped me and everything. Yeah.
You have something very rare. Do you ever feel if you didn't have the support that you get from your friends and family, this would have affected your goals and your dream and your business? Or you'd have found a way to push through it?
Okay, so there's this principle that I have in life, right? Where I believe God puts you in situations where you have to be and when you have to be there. I never think about what would happen if not, but I'm always just grateful that I was in that situation. I mean, Dangote started his business with a loan from his uncle. I didn't have that privilege, but my privileges still exist. And they're still very valid. So I never try to look at life in terms, if I didn't have support from my friends, no, I have the support from my friends. And I say, if I beat my mind about if I didn't, it's never going to happen. I have it. So I appreciate that and I keep rolling with that and I keep moving with that. And that's my principle in life.
What would you tell someone that their friends and family are not supporting their goals and their visions and they've reached rock bottom? They don't know what to do, but they want to do it, but then they don't know how to go about it. They don't know where to start from, how best they can do this, how best they can convince their family and friends, but then they feel stuck. What word of advice or encouragement would you give to them?
Firstly, everyone's story is different. The fact that my story begins with support from my family and my friends doesn't mean that your story should begin with support from your family and your friends. Your story can be different. Your story can be through a stranger who just helps you. There are stories like that. Yeah. So the reason that you have those dreams, the reason that God placed those dreams on you, and the reason that you believe that all that can work out should just exist in you because you want to do them. It may be a wake-up call to validation of what you have, firstly. I'm not invalidating anyone's dreams, but reality check is very important. You need to make sure that, okay, this that I'm wishing for right now, I come from Chawama and we do not have anything. My highest educational level is I'm a grade 9. And now I want to be an astronaut, and because my family is not supporting me, I feel like they're hindering my dream. I mean, where's the reality check? What does it take for someone to actually be an astronaut? Where are you getting those decisions? So firstly, it's reality check. Just check. Be honest with yourself. If your dreams indeed are things that you can achieve and are attainable, then when you check that, check what your privileges are. I talked about how Dangote started his business, and that's not my privilege, but my privilege is to exist, from the support I have from my friends and my family. It might not be through money, but it might be through support. Everyone out there are privileged in one way or the other. You might not believe this actually, but even the very tough background that you have right now is a point of privilege. There are people out there who can't make it out of certain situations because they never had to face certain toughness. So because of where you are right now, you'll be able to go through a number of these things, a number of these hurdles, and conquer them. So find your privilege. What is it that you are privileged with? Is it your ability to express yourself? Is it your mind? Is it what you look like? Is it your smile? And everything. Find your privilege and go with it. So that's my advice to people. Never look down on yourself. Just find your point of privilege and don't look at your friend's story and try to own it. No, create your own. Be unique.
Copycat.
Be you. Yeah. Speaking of copycats, there are lots of copypreneurs in Zambia. People who just do business because this one is doing it. Because, maybe I should say this publicly, guys. But those of you that call me because you want to start a courier service as well. Anyway.
So when did you open this business?
Okay, so it was right before my graduation. I finished my degree in 2021. So February 2022, if I remember very well, was when we started this business. And that's the time I started the business without the bike and with literally just the idea and trying my way to execute it. So that was February 2022. So February 2022, I was building web. It was very slow starting. Maybe you get 1, 2, 3 calls in a week, and things like that. But by August, September of 2022, that's the time I had my first bike, my first own bike, where I got my friends to help me with and run it like that.
The one without the license.
The one without the license. Yeah. So that's the genesis. Yeah.
So when you're getting those few calls, did that ever discourage you?
No, really. It showed there are people out there who needed the service. I just needed to find the others. That's all. That's what business is. Once it shows that there's one person who's willing to do this, then you get to now see it. Okay, maybe I can find another person. Maybe I can find another person. There's this challenge that farmers usually have about, let's say, if you're growing onions, they say how to become a millionaire if you're growing onions. If you can sell one onion at 1 kwacha, all you need to do is grow a million onions and sell them, then you become a millionaire. Because now you have 1 million onions that you've sold, and that's a million kwacha. So it's the same with every other business. Getting few customers does not mean the business is not viable. just means you're starting and you have very few people that are looking at. But of course, research does need to go in place. Yeah. So you just need to research. There are people doing this. There are numbers these days on the internet, and yeah, you can.
Why the name Ntumai?
Yeah, being a proud Kopala representative, I wanted to name it Ntumeni, like a Bemba name, Ntumeni. Send me, because Ntumai simply means send me. Yeah, and then you know what we all go through when registering a business, Pakra. You find that, oh, too many was already registered. I'm like, okay, maybe let me go back to my roots. Let me name it Chewa, you know, because I'm Chewa. Ndi too many. And it was already taken. I was like, what's not taken? And I just simply wanted the name to say, send me, right? Like, send me, like, and everything. So, posted on my status, guys, how do you say send me in your language? Yeah, and that's when the languages started pouring in. Then shout out to my friend Wabe. She's from Solwezi. Yeah, and that's how she gave me the name Tomay, which is Kaonde.
Yeah. Nice. Actually, I thought you were Kaonde.
Nah. I don't even know how do they greet in Kaonde.
I have no idea.
Neither do I. But it's African, and I'm Pan-African. I want everything to represent where I come from and
I
what
see
we
the
are.
Africa on the logo.
Yes. So yeah, maybe let me just take you through a bit of the branding of Ntumai. Yeah. So when I finally got the name, as you've already heard, the idea of getting the name was so that it should come from home, right? It should be homegrown. It should show that it's African. So I didn't want anything English, anything fancy, anything chat GPT. No, I didn't want any of that. So that is where Ntumai, which was Kaonde, came in. Then for the branding is that I want my business to not, I don't want my business to, when you look at it, to tell you exactly what it does, but I just want you to feel like you associate with it, a certain closeness to it. I want people to have a sense of ownership, to say this is our thing.
Ours.
This is not Grecian. This is not what, but this is ours. You look at it and you're like, I want to use that because it's African, because it's ours, because it's our heritage. It speaks about us. So when I was branding this, I had this amazing, one of the best graphic designers in Zambia, a guy called Peter Banda. He goes by the name Kingpin Arts. So yeah, you can look him up. Kingpin did my branding, and he's a friend of mine. So it was a very nice thing to do. We were both passionate about it. And I told him to say, I don't want this brand to limit my growth, because also I might venture into other things. Ntumai can grow maybe into a tech company in the future, can grow into a manufacturer of something in the future, but I don't want to reach to a point where maybe I should change this branding now because there's a motorbike and and now we are shipping, right? Now we have vessels, now we are transporting goods across Africa, but why are we still using the motorbike? So the branding was so that this should outlive maybe just courier services, and this should be something that's friendly and something that people want to associate themselves with. So he did the magic, figured out the colors, the fonts and everything, and yeah, when I saw it, I was like, nah, this is it. This is where we belong. And I had also some input from a friend of mine who told me to say, the name Tomay is a word mark on its own. It markets itself and it rolls on the tongue. So make sure that don't beat yourself too much with the logo. It's fine with it just being Tomay in a stylish, yes, like in a stylish font, like just that. You know, don't complicate things with a nice little bit what and yeah, Kingpin brought that vision to life, and here we are, and everyone wants to put an Ntumai t-shirt now that I'll supply soon.